say on a Thursday, on Friday they report to the job. The director of the school, he gets phone calls from employers and they want apprentices. They say, hey, send me 2 as soon as they get out of school. So he says, okay, Bobby and Orlando, on Friday morning at 7 o'clock, report to this guy at this address, this job site, and he's going to put you to work. Then you keep track of the hours that you work, you send them into the training center, and every 750 hours of work, you get a raise. So that you're constantly getting raises as you become more skilled.
Is that for carpenters?
That's for carpenters. Most of the programs are very similar. It could be 750, it could be 1,000. Some of them might even be 500 hours you get a raise. But you're constantly getting raises all through the 4 years that it takes to become a journeyman. So you start at a reduced scale because you're not as valuable. Remember we talked about making yourself valuable?
Yep.
Well, you're not as skilled as a journeyman, so why you can't demand the same pay scale, right?
Yep.
But as you become more and more skilled, you're more valuable. And so the employer's willing to pay you more. Right? Make sense? So in the course of your apprenticeship, it's nice. Every once in a while, hey, I got another raise. Right? Plus you get benefits, retirement benefits. That's the good thing about apprenticeship. And as far as we're concerned, about being part of a union. Because this, what we're about, we come out here and we do training, but what we would like to see is we would like to see you guys build careers. Not just work on one job one summer, but find the trade that you like, get the training that they provide, become a journeyman, and have a lifelong career in that trade, in that field. Whether it's carpentry, being an electrician, being a plumber, sheet metal worker, iron worker, laborer, bricklayer, mason, any of those trades. You can have a career at that, and when you're done, you can be accumulating retirement benefits and medical insurance, and that's what we're about. We would like to see some of you guys make construction your career. Remember we talked on the first day about the average age of construction workers? We're getting older as a group, not just carpenters, all the trades. Our average age is up in the 40s now. We need young people to come in and take our place. If our average age is 40, in 10 more years, we'll all be retiring. Who's going to build Alaska? Huh? You guys are. You guys are. We're at the end of our careers. We need young people to come in and take over and continue building, not only Alaska, but everywhere, the United States, the world. It takes skilled craftsmen to build buildings or put in sewer systems or water treatment facilities, or you name it. It takes skilled people to build things. And so we're trying to find those young people that are willing to go through the training, put their time in an apprenticeship, because we think that's the best way to learn a trade. It's the quickest way to get your skill level up. You could go out and try to be an iron worker, and it would take you 20 years to learn what you could learn in 4 years if you went to their training center and went through their apprenticeship program. You would pick up all of that knowledge in 4 or 5 years, and then you'd be off and running. You would be a highly skilled craftsman in 4 or 5 years, and you'd be demanding the high wages, the good benefits. So this brochure, I think now that we've been here a few days, maybe this brochure might be a little more meaningful to you guys. Phone numbers, contact names are in the back of this brochure. I'd like you guys to take the time to read the front part of it today. It explains a little bit about apprenticeship. And then if you have any interest at all in the trades, you can either talk to Randy or I. We know most of these people, or we can help you get to the right person. Now, when Deborah was here, what was that, 2 days ago? She talked about financial assistance. Remember I said 8 weeks, no money? That's a long haul. You have to go to Anchorage. That's where the training centers are.
Or Fairbanks.
Or Fairbanks. Okay, those are big cities. Help is available. Through the Yukon Delta Fisheries, she mentioned scholarship opportunities for you. Alaska Works has what we call apprenticeship outreach. They call it the AO, apprenticeship outreach, where if we find a candidate that we think is going to put in the time and the energy to be successful, we're not going to just send any and everybody to one of these schools, okay? We don't want to, I don't want to be embarrassed by saying, hey, I found 2 really good guys. You need to get them into your training center. And then they show up one day and they never see them again, okay? I want to make sure that if I give them a recommendation, it's somebody that's going to be successful, all right? We want people that are serious about going to one of these schools and completing. We spend somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 to train someone to become a journeyman. Where do you think that money comes from? Anybody got any ideas?
Federal.
You guys,
Comes out of our paychecks.
I think we pay like 5 cents on every hour we
Well,
work.
it's 60 right now.
60 cents?
60 cents an hour on every journeyman, every hour that we work.
60 cents. I gotta pay to get to the school.
That's why the training is free.
So don't screw up. You're wasting my money.
If you get accepted to one of these programs, the training is free. We pay for it. The journeymen pay for it. Because somebody paid for us. But you're also eligible for some financial aid through these different agencies that could help you with, you know, your transportation costs maybe. Maybe Alaska Works puts on interview training so that when you go in there you have an idea what the interview is going to be like. We set up mock interviews, so we have some guys sit behind a table and look real serious, and then you come in like you're interviewing to get into that school. They ask you questions, so it gives you a chance to practice before you actually go for the real interview. We also help people with airfare so they can come into an interview. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys to get financial assistance to make this possible. And I told you about our guy from Todiac. He got some financial assistance to make it possible for him to come into Anchorage, spend 8 weeks at the training center, and he finished #1, the best guy in the class. Because he focused, he took it seriously, he had the help that he needed, and he finished #1. It's possible. So I want to make sure that you guys realize that what the opportunities are for you. You're young, you're at the perfect age to start an apprenticeship. You don't have a lot of what you can call baggage. You know, you have a chance right now to do something that will become increasingly difficult. If you wait till you're 30, it gets a little bit harder to get away and to move to Anchorage.
Most of you don't have any wife and kids. You don't have to worry about taking anybody with you.
Right now is the chance. This is a golden opportunity. Now, other thing I wanted to mention.
It makes it hard when you got a wife and children to take with you, feed and fed and clothed and while you're doing this. It's a perfect time. That's when I did it. I was 19.
That's when I did it. I started when I was 19. Just because you put in an application doesn't mean you're in. You might have to apply 2 or 3 times. The guy that runs our training program, that's the Carpenter Training Center, he applied 3 times. The first year, they said no, full up. He said, hey, I want to be a carpenter. I'm going to be a carpenter. Second year, he sent another application in, went through the interviews. He wasn't accepted. He went, "Ooh, you know, I thought I was going to make it that time." He went out, found a job. I think he worked in framing, whatever he could do, something in the industry. Worked for another year, came back, here's my application again. I told you I'm going to be a carpenter. The third year he got accepted. Now he runs the school. So if you apply and you don't get accepted, it's not the end of the road. Okay, you don't give up. You guys got any questions about any of this?
What is it, did like type
That's a good question, Carl.
You look over here, it says terminal applications on criminal apprenticeship on top. Right, a little over halfway across, it says terminal apprenticeship on top, and it says applications in. You look at asbestos workers, year round. Most of these are year round. Some of these have months on them. Carpenter, September.
Fairbanks.
Carpenters in Anchorage, year round. Electricians are year round.
Okay, they say year round, that means they will accept applications year round. But every program has deadlines for their trainings. Ours, for the Anchorage carpenters, is February, the end of February. They'll accept more applications, but they go into the pile for the next year. So if you're interested in one of these programs, don't wait. Call up, find out, ask. Say, if I put in an application tomorrow, when would I be eligible to start my training? Because they're all different. They all say year-round, and they do take applications year-round. But they have to have a cutoff date so that they can interview. Everyone has to be interviewed. Then they have to evaluate your application and your interview, and then say the class starts June 1st. Our class starts June 1st. And that's why we stop in April, so that we have time to evaluate everyone and pick the best. Does that make sense? We don't want to pick just pick randomly. We interview everyone, and we pick the guys that we think are going to be the best chance of completing the program, because we spend a lot of money on you. This training costs us a lot of money, and we don't want to just waste our money. So we go through and we try to weed out the individuals that we feel aren't very serious. We try to pick the guys that are going to succeed, so that our money is well spent. Right? We don't like to just throw our money away. So if you have an interest in any of these programs, you need to make contact with them and say, hey, I am interested. Find out the particulars. If I submit an application, when would I be eligible to start training, if I'm accepted? So that you know. We have this problem where guys, they come in right after February and the summer's coming, so they go, wow, summer's coming, I'm hearing all this stuff in the news and on the paper about all these jobs that are going to be around this summer. I think I'll go get in this training program. They're too late. They have to wait a whole year till the next year. So that's why it's imperative that you find out right away, get that application. There's usually some paperwork that you have to round up. High school diploma, grades.
For the applications, do we call up the number for applications?
Yes, they will mail you one. So don't wait, sooner is better, if you're interested. And remember, if you're not serious, don't waste anybody's time, including your own. You guys got some time to think about this, but if you're interested, find out about it. Also, the financial aid will take some time. That's another application process and a review, because they don't want to just throw their money away either. They want to make sure that the people they're sponsoring or they're giving scholarships to are the serious ones, and the ones that have a plan to succeed. We want to be successful in this thing. We don't want to just send people there that are going to fail. We want people that are serious, develop a plan, focus on their plan, and then, hey, carry it out, follow through. It's been a good life for me. Been doing it 30 years. Got a nice house, been able to take care of my family. I can hold my head up high. I have skills that no one can take from me. They're mine. Whether I use them or not, they're still mine. I could go do something else, but I like what I'm doing.
Is roofers and proofers are the same thing as carpenters, or they're
No.
different?
Roofers is a separate union. They specialize in just roofing.
Tar, hot tar, insulation.
Now, most of these programs that you'll find in here do commercial work. Okay? We, as our union, we don't usually build many houses. That's not what we do. We build commercial buildings, bigger projects. You know, schools, banks,
Hospitals,
hospitals,
pipelines.
pipelines. There's one of those down the road, maybe. That'll be a good opportunity for you guys. We're building a huge mine over in his region where Randy's from. That's gonna be, the mine life is about 50 years, they say. It's gonna take an immense amount of work and machinery and manpower just to open that mine. And then it's gonna be around for 50 years. A lot of things happening in Alaska, a lot of opportunities. You guys are sitting in the driver's seat. You just need to get the skills to make yourself valuable. If you make yourself valuable now when you're young, you'll have opportunities throughout your lifetime to do a lot of different things that you can't even dream of right now. But if you don't get the skills, you won't get the opportunities. Shall we eat lunch?
Yeah. All your legs cut, your top cut, and you screw them on. Remember the kneeling pattern here? 5 screws, 3 on the bottom and 2 on top, staggered. Follow your directions here. We want it just like that. Okay, once we get those screwed on, measure it from here, right there, to right there, because that's how wide your plywood is going to be, right? Your plywood is going to be here, it's going to be like this, all right? And plywood gusset, measure it from here to here, and see how much you need, because it all depends how wide you cut this top. If it's 5.5 inches, these are both 3/4, it should 3/4 and 3/4, inch and a half, and an inch and a half. So if you add inch and a half to that 5.5, it should be about 7 inches. But it's only 7 inches if it's 5.5 on top here. You guys cut it a little bit narrower. You need to measure it. Your gusset's not going to be 7 inches. If it's not 5.5. Right there. If it's narrower, your gusset's going to be narrow. So we want you to measure it. Because some of you guys probably won't end up with 5.5 inches wide. It's hard to get it right on the money. Then follow the screw pattern. Remember? On the sides here, you get 5 screws staggered. And then what's the pattern here for the gussets? 4? 4. Remember, 4 spaced evenly. Right? And the way we screw this on, remember, is put the top 2 screws in first on each side here. Right? Make sure that the plywood is up tight against the bottom of the 2x6. And once you get these two screws in here, move the legs back and forth until the plywood is right on the edge, right? Then put a screw there. Same thing over here. Move this leg till the plywood is even with the edge here, then put a screw there. Then you can put the other two screws in, right?
Right.
How many inch plywood do we use for?
1/2 inch plywood.
Does it say that on our drawing?
No, it doesn't. But we've been using 1/2 inch, that's all we got. We got 3/4, but that's not what that's
We
for.
need to add that to our drawing so we have all the information required to build.
Let's watch, we watch that now?
Sure. And I would like to, if you guys notice on our gussets, the bottom edge is cut at the same 13-degree angle as the top edge that fits tight to your horse.
Oh, I forgot to do that.
So one of the reasons that we're making that straight edge is so that we can rip some 1/2 inch plywood. And what's our gusset height? See it on the drawing? Gusset height,
6,
1 foot.
6 11/16. So that means that we're gonna rip some 1/2 inch plywood to 6 11/16 with the 13-degree angle on both edges. Right? What does it mean when we rip something? Which way are we gonna cut it?
Long way.
Long ways, right? So we may need to stop before we get to that point, finish making our straight edges so that we can make some nice straight rips at 13 degrees both sides, and then we'll cut our gussets out of those rips. And the other thing I wanted to add was, Randy said, measure from the top, and he pointed to the long point. Okay, so those measurements are always long point to short point. So when you start to measure those, make sure you hook your tape on the long point. That will make the cutting the legs real easy. Now we'll check out this PowerPoint for a few minutes, and then I think we're ready to go out. This thing in position here. This will give us a few pictures of what we want to do here. What's that? The bulb's heating up. It would be nice if we could hang our curtain back up. Yeah. Top of the line curtain that we have. That helps a little. Nothing but the finest. Okay, let's focus this thing. Way back. Okay, this is the same drawing that we used to build our first horse. We'll go through this really quickly here, guys. Okay. Here's some of the math that we used to figure the lengths. called ratio and proportion. And I don't know if Richard has talked about ratio and proportion yet. No?
No.
What I think we ought to do is skip through this. Right now, we're just gonna go out and build it. If you can see what we do here. Cross multiply. We divide 12 into this number, and that tells us what x equals. X equals 26.674. Now we're kicking the leg back 13 degrees this way. We went this way, and now we're going to angle it back this way, so it's going to get even longer.
Remember, make your cuts parallel to each other. The top is parallel to the bottom, right? That means this one's angled, cut at this angle. Make sure you cut this one at the same angle, right? Parallel. Don't cut up this bottom one. Don't cut it opposite of this one, so you end up with a leg that looks like that. All your cuts have to be parallel.
So now we're using this ratio of the height of our pitch block is to the height of our sawhorse is a relationship as to our hypotenuse of this triangle to the hypotenuse of this triangle, and that happens to be the length of our leg. X equals the length of our leg. We got 12x equals 328.382. We divide that by 12, and that tells us the final length of our leg, long point to short point. Subtract 2 feet, we end up with 3.365 inches. Now you guys went over this morning in math, right? We're changing it into sixteenths.
Right, Casey?
We multiply the decimal times 16, that turns it into sixteenths. You guys tired? How about Michael Fitka? You sleeping on us? Well, it's pretty hard to see the screen with your head turned away and your eyes closed.
Are we working outside?
We are working outside.
That way we want to clean the gym back
It's
up.
on your drawing. I'm going through this kind of quick because the information is on your drawing. We just wanted to show you that the math is figured using that. It's all about triangles.
I think tonight we should have everybody keep their tools in here, huh?
Yeah. Might be the best place for them. Now we have some photos of people cutting the pieces for their horse. There it shows them having a 13-degree angle on the plywood rip. Here we are ripping the plywood, 13-degree angle.
1x6 for the legs.
1x6 for the legs.
We're gonna use a hammer?
We,
We are going to use screws.
do we pair up on, when we're cutting the plywood?
Yeah, you could pair up cutting the plywood. Yep, because you cut one rip,
We'll do
it
some.
should be enough for 2 people. We're pretty close.
Remember, everything needs to be flush.
Right?
Everything is flush. So that's the old Stevie Wonder, right? Feel it with your hand. There's the horse with its legs on, and he's about ready to start putting the gussets.
Remember, put the top 2 screws in first, then you can move the legs back and forth so that it's flush on the sides, right? Press it.
Okay, we showed this to show you these is parallel. 13-degree angle going this way, 13-degree angle going this way. Instead of freehanding these cuts, we're going to use the straight edge. There you are, parallel cuts. Here we are not parallel. See how this one angles this way? This is the way not to do it. Okay, nice and tight fit right here. Not like that.
Remember, some of you guys had to change them last time because you put it like that.
See that big gap there? You don't want to see that. Here, yeah, he's fastened it up near the table of the horse, and now he's moving the leg to make it flush down at the bottom of the gusset. There he is. He's giving it the old Stevie Wonder right there.
Use your feet to spread it apart.
Pattern. Nice tight fit. We don't want to see this. See that sticking up over there?
Yep.
We want it flush everywhere. And you see this nail sticking out right here?
Yep.
Okay. Be careful when you're putting these screws in. We don't want a shiner coming out the side here. And there's our horse. Piece of cake, huh?
Okay, so what's the first thing you gotta go out and do?
Get the water here.
You got 4 foot 2 by 6. Then cut, second thing, cut the angles on this,
On the legs.
on the 2 by 6. So that you have the top cut at the angles. Then the third thing is you go get a 10 foot 1 by 6, which is long enough for 4 legs. Make sure you get a nice one because you don't want any big knot cracks or big knots in the middle of your legs. Your horse will break right there.
Or you can just cut that piece out.
Or cut it out and get another piece.
Yeah. Don't haystack the whole pile just because you see a knot, okay? We'll just cut that piece out.
Or if it's got a big crack in it, don't use it. Just give another piece. Then, so the third thing would be to cut your legs. Then put your legs on the 2 by 6. And when you get the legs on, you go and rip your plywood and cut your gussets. And then you put those on. Okay?
And one other thing was remember when we're using the screws? The screw, if the leg is not touching tight to the sawhorse table, it doesn't want to get tight. I showed some of you about spinning the screw backwards to kind of make a hole. If you spin the screw backwards, it kind of pre-drills a hole for you, and then it won't grab in the leg and it'll suck it up tight to the sawhorse. Or we can get drill motors out and pre-drill the hole so that the screw is able to suck that other piece of wood tight, the leg tight to the table of the horse.
Make sure your legs are tight against the 2 by 6. Otherwise, you're going to have to take it off and redo it.
I think we're ready to 3 or 4 guys right here to work. So a group of you, about 3 or 4, need to move over sort of behind that purple truck. And AJ is going to get you guys powered that'll be separate from everyone else. So we don't all throw the breaker like we were doing the other day. So we're going to spread out in small groups. A few of you over there. A few of you are going to run off the power that's going to come from here. Let's have another 3 or 4 guys move right up to here. Okay? Otherwise, we're going to throw breakers.
Hey, buddy, good right here.
And you're getting power for them, right? We need, yeah, a few guys right out here. You'll run off the power that's coming out of the gym. And then we need another group, just like we got right over here.
Like I'm good where I am.
Yeah, there's not 5 or 6 of you there.
You're good, Randy.
Where you're coming. You and I can see you more. So that you have
degrees, following the edge. Sometimes what Randy and I do. Make the edge dark. Light. Then you can see the edge. Engineer.
When you first cut them out, they had to be 2 feet, 3 feet when you first cut them. The rest you gotta put that cut on the end. And measure from the long point to this number. See, their legs to first, make it like that, cut it off at 2 feet, really good. Everything you gotta do. Randy! Got 13-degree cut on one end. With bevel on it. This is offset at 13 degrees. And then measure from the long point down to the short point. And then the same angle again. And you have a leg. Long point. Let's look. Right there. The long point's on this side. See, you didn't quite cut enough off. So we need to make another cut. Come in here about 1 inch and make another cut. But see how it's angled this way? The long point is actually down here on the bottom. Right? So you have to turn it
So
around.
we want to measure from the long point, not from this point over here, but the very longest point, and then go down here and make your measurement. Okay? So go ahead and just recut that one. Make sure when you look at it that you look this angled here and go to the longest point. All right? What's up, Casey?
These are for legs, right?
Even this way gotta be 13,
13 degrees?
so
Yes.
when you cut your legs.
Making 13 degrees, leave your saw at 13 degrees and cut it.
some sodas out of the cooler. Pepsi? Got Pepsi and Coke, that's it. Okay, I'll get half and half. Yep, go inside. You want to take a break inside or out?
Anywhere, I don't care as long as it's
So are you learning anything new about carpentry that like you didn't know about before?
Yeah, I learned how to make
Hey, Randy, here you go, food.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Simeon.
Hey, they're on a break.
Having fun?
Yeah,
Was it easier or harder than you thought?
it's pretty easy
Yeah?
once you get used to it.
Does it help to be more hands-on, or will the stuff you learn in the classroom help you more
Yeah, in the classroom.
in the classroom? Good. Cab's only $3.
Anywhere in town, $3? Hey, before you bring your saws and stuff in here, make sure they don't have sawdust all over them. We spent a lot of time sweeping the floor. Just set them off to the side. Roll up the cords and the saws.
Almost
Let's
finished,
go.
yeah?
Almost. Trying to haul
How long do you think that took you so far, total?
I don't know, maybe close to an hour and a half, taking my time.
Not
Yes.
bad.
I think that would be safe.
Almost done?
Yep.
How long did it take you?
It's the afternoon.
Tools you're gonna put in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
Don't put them in there. Nothing going in there, except for
Everybody's saying that without everything they learned in the classroom today, there's no way they could have been able to do this just hands-on without everything that they just learned. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's good, because usually it's the other way around. They like the hands-on and more than the classroom. So that's encouraging that they think they're learning something in the classroom. That's great.
You dance if you had a boyfriend?
Take a short break here, cool off. I
was waiting. Okay. Was it recording? No. Because I said, is it on again? Is it recording? Yeah. It's recording. Are the lights on? Hey, remember fighting over there at that tundra? Peace out, homie. You're recording it? Nothing? Let's go over there. It's embarrassing over here. Hey, record me. Are you recording? Yeah. Hey, Andrew. It's recording. It's recording. They don't follow that. It is recording. This is the old mission where my mom and dad got married. Over here. I'll show you around some places. That's Jesse. That's Jesse. Wow.
Get everything?
It's recording.
Yeah. All right.
It's still recording.
Cuz you can do it inside now. Outside I can't really watch you and there's kids roughhousing.
No, but there's a lot better outside. You can see the picture red. It's recording. There's a light.
Yeah, I know there's a light.
It's recording, Jesse. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? From here. You're from St. Mary's? Yep. Oh, okay. Bye.
Yeah, Trey.
Hi, Andrew. What you doing? Zoom out. Hi, Andrew. What you doing?
It's on stop.
Brittany! 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 What the heck? Not you. Brittany! Brittany! Are you having fun? Yeah. We're screaming for mushrooms.
Look, I'll show them. This kind.
I want to see your face.
What the heck is that? It's just a mushroom.
This is someone's house. It's by the old mission where my mom and dad got married. Yeah, are you having fun?
Yep. Mushrooms at these girls.
What you doing? Okay.
Is it on record? Don't.
Hey, Scott.
Better not be recording.
I am. What you doing?
Are you running around with the camera?
Hi, Miss.
He does have food.
What you doing?
I can't even see.
Bye, Miss.
Because when you're black.
Let me blur you. Heck yeah. What's up,
Who's
dude?
this? Nothing. Your sister.
Bird.